first of all, Javier, you're not going to be any good at this. I know you kicked butt at your last job. I love that. But when you come here, you're around 50 alphas. These guys are very good at what they do. You're not going to be the best. I know that you believe you are, and I love you for that. But you're probably not going to be number one. And I want you to be one day, but you're probably not going to be right off the gate, because there's going to be a lot of things you're going to have to learn. And these guys are really good, and they're going to take you in as family, but you're not going to be number one. Hey guys, what's going on? It's Andy. I'm here today with Romero Capital Corp. These guys are crushing it. They're killing it in the game. And they're really young too. I love it. 35, 30 years old. And it's super important that whatever it is that you do, just crush it, kill it, be number one in the space. So we came up with some questions, and I love this right now. I was talking to Daniel. Daniel's like 10 questions, right? That he would say, let's ask me, and most importantly, let's all rip on together on like how you guys run your company, your culture, how you guys scale, how we do it. And if you just listen, man, if you make it through all 10 of these questions, number one, I want you to ask yourself this question. I want you to listen to the way that we answer it. And I promise you when it's done, there's going to be so much value. This is a complete value-added video. It's not a podcast. It's not an interview. It's literally education, right? So like grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, and get ready to grow. So Javier, I appreciate you. Javier owns the company. Daniel started with them day one from the ground up. And here we are, you know what, it's 8 years later?
8 years later.
8 years later. And so Daniel, why don't you seem like the more analytical one.
Yeah,
right?
so
like me and you seem like more of like the Wildcats, and Daniel's like got it all structured.
Yeah. So my first question is, just because we're building a team now, and I see how you have your team in the building. Mm-hmm. My first question was, what is the process of analyzing, or I guess looking at people's weaknesses, even yourself, even your own, and how do you nip that in the bud, or what does that process look like for you to see their weaknesses, and then?
Well, okay, so number one, I'm going to tell you this, so I can make sure that they're weaknesses that I'm okay with, right? There's some weaknesses that I'm not okay with, right? So step one would be, how do we hire people? Mm-hmm. Wouldn't you agree? Mm-hmm. Right? So how you hire people is how you get your culture, how you get your build. So literally you got to write down right now, you only want to be around people who are Elliot. That's me. I'm Elliot. You're Romero. Mm-hmm. So I'm Elliot. So and if I'm going to hire someone in, they must have Elliot alignment. Okay. They must have Elliot core values. They must have Elliot standards. I don't care about skill yet.
Okay.
I'm not watching you sell. I'm not watching you close. I want to know your heart. Okay. So like, if I showed you my core values right now, right? Just watch this. Daniel, I have 21 core values. Okay. A lot of companies only have 5. I have 21. Mm-hmm. Okay. Would you do me a favor? Would you circle any of these that you don't believe in? Watch. I'm going to do it. All right, Daniel. Number 1 through 21. There's 21 here. You didn't circle any, so you say you believe in all of them. 1 through 21. I want you to label which one's number 1 all the way to which one's number 21 with what's most important to you. Daniel, number 1, core value. What does that mean to you? What does take responsibility? What does that mean to you? I ain't got to say nothing. And Daniel, well, this is what responsibility means to me. Okay, cool. And then what does trust God mean in you? What does this be a team? What does this mean to never stop learning? Like if these are the core values, I'm going to let him answer. I ain't saying nothing. Okay. So when I say fix weaknesses, like if you're not the best at communication, if you're not the best at certain things, if you align with me, I say great people are built, not born. Selena, which you guys know, she was in the automotive industry. Mm-hmm. She wasn't in the coaching game. She's a 7-figure earner now in the coaching space. She aligned with everything. All the core values that we had, when I laid them out, she goes, oh my gosh, I've been trying my whole life to find somebody that has core values like that. And by the way, I want someone to hold me accountable even higher to those core values. And I imagine being in a place that the whole team has these core values. So we never let someone come in. So when you say weakness, the weakness couldn't be like they don't believe in one of these things, because they would never make it into my company without believing in my core values. Okay. So everything else is figure outable outside of that. Does that make, I mean, you want to ask something, but go ahead.
Yeah, I was asking because I have we actually had a case recently. It's a gentleman. He he posted like a story that he should not have posted on social media, and it's something that doesn't align with us, and he's supposed to be starting next month.
Well,
February 1st.
so number one, people don't know what they don't know. Okay, a lot of companies don't really vet social media. They don't check it out. When you go to work for a place, they don't say, hey, you know, your social media, right? Like if you post about politics and stuff like that, like we're not okay with that. You know, like they haven't set a standard for how social media ties to work, you know, but you having high standards, honestly, like maybe he didn't know that
I told him
that would upset you. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And maybe it wouldn't have upset his last employer. Yeah. And so when you tell them, I always say this, like, look, like leaders only need to be told once. Yeah. Like, how do I know if you're a leader?
I'll tell you one time. That's it.
I just got to tell you one time. I mean, listen, and I'm not saying you're going to be perfect, but I need to tell you once. Don't post something on social media that would jeopardize the team. So we have this saying in our company, if I do this thing, will this be good for my team? If you don't go to the gym this morning, is that good for your team?
No.
So you better go.
I did.
Okay, yeah, but that's the deal, so you better go. And our whole team, like this morning, I had a huge meeting. I've got 50 guys in the room. I say, hey, who didn't go to the gym? Raise your hand. And there was only one person that raised their hand, okay? Everyone goes to the gym in the morning because they know we get in the flow state. You know, we get into the gym early. Endorphins, oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine, those things, those biological rewards, those chemicals get released in the gym in the morning, and we get to have those chemicals running through our body all day long on the phones, talking to people. We're on fire, we're infectious, we're magnetic because of that gym, you know, because we're communicating with people. So like if you don't work out in the afternoon, you work out in the morning before we speak all day. You know, not only because it's better, but because it helps you with your speaking. Like it helps you with with your flow state.
Do you do that every day? Like, do you have like a certain amount of times that they have to work out a week?
No, just Monday through Friday.
Okay.
You know, my team. Look, everybody works 7 days a week.
Yeah.
They only need to come into the office Monday through Friday from 8:15 to 5:30. I mean, they're their own bosses. They're their own schedules. I mean, we're all Elliot, but they're adults. I tell them, I'm like, dude, I'm not your babysitter. Like, I don't want to babysit you. I don't want to micromanage you. You're an adult, right? Mm-hmm. Good, act like one.
Do you feel like because that's the standard in which you hire, you first look at the values of the person?
Mm-hmm.
Talking to Selena earlier, she was telling me that one of the things also that you guys might do is like when they come for an interview, you'll meet them out in the parking lot just to see like what your car like inside.
Oh, so number one, if I am really interested, so we don't hire. So like first of all, like if somebody's like, I want to work for you, like there's not a place to come work for us. You would have to come through our coaching program. We would have to identify you as someone that's like, dude, this guy's and I always say this guy's a product of the product. Okay. Like he's a product of our product. Yeah. Like he's not this. Yeah. No one's going to be selling our product that hasn't been changed by our product. Like I want my guys to have their life changed by this product. So when they're talking to somebody, they're like, oh my God, are you kidding me? Dude, like I'm not telling you this is life changing. Like it changed my whole life, like my life. And I can't believe that I'm here now giving you an opportunity to change your life. And so they must be products of the product. I interview first. Secondly, by the way, I'm always talking people into working here. It's my biggest fault. I'm a salesman. That's my problem. My wife, then she talks second. She talks everybody out of working here. She's like, first of all, Javier, you're not going to be any good at this. I know you kicked butt at your last job. I love that. But when you come here, you're around 50 alphas. These guys are very good at what they do. You're not going to be the best. I know that you believe you are, and I love you for that. But you're probably not going to be number one. And I want you to be one day, but you're probably not going to be right off the gate because there's going to be a lot of things you're going to have to learn. And these guys are really good, and they're going to take you in as family, but you're not going to be number one. I want you to be, but it's not going to happen. I see this happen every day. And so, Javier, what's going to happen in 6 months from now if you're not making money? You're getting your butt kicked. You thought you were going to be great at this, but you're not good enough yet. You going to quit? And then we have his wife there too. We always talk to the wife, like, what are you going to do if he's not making money in 6 months from now? And the wife will either say, well, if we weren't making money, we'd have to leave. Don't hire him. But if they're like, no, my husband don't lose. So if he was getting his butt kicked, I know he would pull it out and I would support him. See, that's what I want to hear. And then number 3, after we go me, we go wife, then we go to the team. And if I'm like, guys, I've got someone that I'm interested in, Jackie's interested in, we talk to his wife, we would like you guys to ask some questions. And then we bring them in front of the team with their wife. Okay? If there's another person, if it's like Selena, we'd bring her boyfriend. and then the team interviews them in front of a big interview group setting, and they ask questions, whatever they want. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And then if they make it through that, then the team accepts them, and then they're on.
So pretty much the values are first, and then everything else is coachable, is what you're saying. So
Yep.
like if they're not great closers, you can obviously you'll coach
Yeah.
them that. Or if they're or like for example, I also
What if you have the opposite? Yeah.
yeah, that was my question. If you have the opposite of that,
A great closer.
a
But
great
then
closer, but
doesn't have the values or-
no, not like let's say they steer off the values a little bit. They come in
Zero chance you could be here.
hot. Okay.
Zero chance. So we have this rule. It says we never make decisions based off money.
Okay.
Okay? I hire long range. So when I hire somebody, I'm like, look, man, Javier, look, you don't have to be the best at sales right now. You don't have to be the best closing. I'm a sales trainer, okay? I can make you great. My team's great. When you see all this happen, you're going to become great. But I can't change these things in you. And nor do I want to. I don't want to try to save you. I don't want to try to convince you to believe in these
not a rehab
things.
center.
No. I love you, man. But I've tried this before, and I spend years on people. And then I end up wasting my time. And I've saved a few. But I just want to find people that believe in this, and then I'll make them great. And so basically this means everything to me. So this high ticket closer crap and all this stuff that people, I don't care about none of that. That's all garbage. You know, those people right there, number one, they chase money.
Yep.
Okay. Now listen, I want people to chase money, but I want people to also chase purpose. Purpose comes before money. And most people will never understand this, and the people can't understand this. So here's what happens. If people come to work for you for money, and they're like, Javier, I'll leave my job and come work for you so I can make more money. Basically, they're leaving someone else for money. They're going to leave you one day for money. Okay, they're trained off money. So if you were to come to me and you're like, man, listen, how much money can I make? I'll say, number one, that's irrelevant. 90% of my company, every one of them came here in the early days, not knowing, just like you, not knowing what they were going to get paid, if they were going to get paid anything, but they believed in the movement. They believed in the mission. They knew we were underdogs. They knew our goal was to take down Goliaths. They knew that we were going to be territory takers. They knew that we had something going on in here that they wanted to be a part of, and that was enough for them. And so when you come in here saying, how much money can I make? I mean, listen, I want you to make really good money, but if that's what you're here for, I'm not interested. And like I have to clip that right out the gate, because number one, what if they don't get good up to speed fast enough? If it's about money, they'll quit. And then if it is about money, eventually, number one, I've hired them, I've trained them that money's super important. So when someone offers them more money, they'll literally give up, and they'll give up integrity, core values. They'll give up all this stuff for money because they think money is success, when money is nothing. Money is a byproduct of who you become. And so we're all into building our team. And by the way, let's say Javier, like, you know, let's say you're the boss, right? And you are, and you're the owner. And they come in, these people that we hire, and they really love you, but they don't love your team. They're out. Okay, most people don't do this, okay? And I want you to understand this. It's like people come in, they love me and Jackie, but then our team has high demands, high standards, right? And they all do stuff like every week, every other week, they all go play football together. They go play kickball. They all go together. They all go run together, and everyone on the team goes. And we've learned that if you don't go to those things, you get pushed to the outskirts of the team and you're out. And the team will rebel against you because they're like, this is how we stay close.
Is that planned? Like
The team plans it.
building?
I don't even do it. The team does it.
Okay.
And you may say, what do you mean? I'm like, they do it. Like if you were here this weekend, we had a huge event this weekend, right? I mean, my team plans everything. We don't do nothing. And they're not event planners. They just communicate so well together. They're like close. They're like blood brothers
Yeah,
and
but those
sisters.
same core values, right?
Yep.
Which you made sure that they had before they came in.
Yep. And so it all comes back to that. And so if somebody came in here, right, they would have to trick me, they'd have to trick my wife, and they would have to trick their own family, and they'd have to trick the whole team.
Yeah, you're dealing with the
Yeah,
best.
it's a lot,
You're
yeah.
dealing with the best at tricking.
Yeah, to get in here,
Yeah.
to not keep your values.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
number one, like we don't drink,
Yeah.
right? If you do have a drink, you have a drink at home. You have a drink off social media. Okay, like I don't want to see that. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want anyone to hear about it. We don't drink
What
at
happens if you do?
events. You're out.
All right.
Yeah, you're out. You're gone. By the way, but it's not because it's wrong. It's because we just don't do that. Like, listen, so I quit cussing, right? And, I cussed like crazy for a long time. It was one of my last week things that I had. And it was just an undiscipline. And I was like, all right, we're done. It's gone. And so once I made the decision, we're done. If I want to go and I have a drink with my wife at home, and it was just me and her, and we were laughing, having a good time, having a drink, just me and her. No one knows about it. It doesn't harm anyone.
Correct.
Okay? I'm not a bad influence. I'm not putting it on social media. I'm not getting out there. And we don't do that. But if I did it and I did it at home, I'm okay with that. Like, I'm not harming anybody else, right? When you go out and, we're like, yeah, we're having fun. Or you're at an event, right? Because we're always at different events. And everyone's always drinking. Yeah. And imagine one of my guys, drinking with the customer. Like, oh, yeah, let's have a drink. Let's have a good time. Because that happens. Oh, dude, that don't happen with us. Like, dude, we are the freaking example. We are the ones that are telling them, like, dude, this is a standard thing. This is the next level thing. Like, that is not good. That's toxic for your body. You don't need that, dude. You're going to wake up sharp tomorrow, hit the gym, be ready to take over the world, start your new business, hire your new team, go to the next level, be better to your wife. Like, dude, you don't need that junk, right? Like, have the discipline to say no. That ain't a part of your 2-year plan, And so, like, we can't do the opposite. So, anyways, I just want to say that these people, when they come to work here, in the beginning, we kind of have a conversation about this, and it's very clear, like, what's okay, what's not okay, and we tell them, like, we don't want to tell you how to live, we don't want to tell you what to do, okay? All right, look, if you hear any of this and you're like, oh man, guess what? This isn't right for you, and we love you, and I want you to keep coaching with us, and I want to keep changing your life, but you can't work here, And I love you. It doesn't change anything, and I don't look down on these people. I don't look. I used to be the worst cusser in the world, right? But I don't cuss anymore. And I got a lot of friends, and they all cuss. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. I don't judge them. I'm good. I just don't want to do it no more. And so, like, when you work in this company, like, I don't want to be a bad stepping stone for somebody to start a bad habit because they see me doing it. And honestly, why I quit cussing, I had a lot of people tell me, they go, dude, the reason why I cuss is because, like, you cuss. And I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. Because I had people tell me, man, I would love for my kids to listen to your message, but, like, you just cuss too much. And then they were like, hey, man, I had a lot of people. Ed Milet told me, he's like, dude, you're fishing with a net with a hole in it. He's like, and you're catching a lot of fish, but you're missing a lot of fish because they're swimming right through your net. And, dude, it's just like stupid, dude. Just stop cussing.
Yeah, kind of like attitude reflects leadership.
Yeah, so... Anyways, anything that could harm another person, I just don't want to be a part of it. I never had a leader my whole life until I was probably about 40 years old. So, like,
that was one of my questions.
I never had one. I never. My wife was a good leader. My wife's been my leader, but, like, no one's been a good leader. So basically, I always say this, like, if you know what losing is, right, just reverse it and you'll have winning, right? And so, like, I just took, like, all the bad things that I did and that everyone else did around me, and I just reversed all of it, and we built the Elliot Group. Gotcha. And, like, it works.
One of the things that you mentioned earlier that I kind of want to ask you about is you said you wasted years on people. You mentioned, you brought them in, you try to coach them, try to make them do the right thing, but you wasted years.
Yep.
And now you don't. So what does that look like for you? How do you identify when it's time to cut? I mean, this is a question for all the entrepreneurs because sometimes we hold on.
This is so important
to people for longer than we have to, and it hurts.
Yeah. So let me tell you this. This is the biggest problem of an entrepreneur. We believe we can fix everybody.
Yeah. I used to think that way.
I still do.
And listen, I want to tell you something. It's not a bad thing. Okay? The problem is that when you bring someone like that you think that you can fix into something really special that you've really taken a lot of pride in, your team looks at you like, why would you bring that guy in here? And I'm not saying that you have to be perfect. I'm saying if you don't fit the standards of the core values of the company, and I was to bring you in and say, yeah, guys, listen, this guy's a great closer, guys. Listen to me. This guy can close better than anybody in this company. He's just got a drinking problem, right? And so, like, we need to figure out how to help him stop drinking. Well, there's this old saying. It says, when you see a problem and you don't fix it, then you become the problem. Yeah. And I have done such a good job being such a good leader to my company. If I brought someone in, that problem would quickly turn into I'm the problem. and that would flush everything I
Well,
built down the
everything
toilet.
it's your fault, right? At your company, right? That's the way I see it, right?
Yeah, but
Everything's
my
a
job as a
reflection
leader
of
is
my-
to fix problems when I see them,
Exactly.
is to solve. But it doesn't mean I'm the problem. It's just my job to solve that problem.
Exactly.
But if I don't solve it,
It is your problem.
and I tolerate it, then I truly become the problem because I tolerated it. Listen, you know who's the chokehold on growth on every company? The leader.
The leader, yeah.
Number one, most of the time they believe that this is thing or whatever, or these numbers are maxed out. And so it's like, guys, we should do this thing in marketing. Yeah, we tried that already. First thing happened. All right, leader's maxed out. He's done, dude. They already know the answers to everything. They already tried all these things. They're already going to tell you every reason why it won't work. You got to replace the leader. You have to. That guy's got to go. And every time you see that guy go and another hungry guy come in, numbers shoot up. Why? Because that guy was starving. Or somebody tolerates things they shouldn't tolerate. And by the way, we believe, we're reborn again Christians, we believe in having grace on people. Okay, so like I make mistakes every day. I want people to have the same grace on me when I make a mistake, and I need to have the same on them. But there's a difference between intentionally like hurting somebody and like making a mistake, you know.
I tell people that all the time. Like it's not what you did that matters; it's your intention behind it, right?
Facts.
If you did it by mistake, yeah, even in relationships, like and within
It
couples,
happens.
Yep.
Yep.
My wife might do something just she didn't know it would hurt,
Yeah.
and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And she could do something that really doesn't hurt, but she might do it out of spite, and that really bothers me, right?
Yeah.
It's really triggering. It's like it's not what you did. That
It's
bothers me,
malicious.
Your intention behind it.
Yeah, it's malicious. It's not a mistake, right? Because if somebody makes a mistake and they find out that it hurt someone else, they're like, oh my God, like I never wanted anyone to get hurt because of this. I would never want that. But malicious is like revenge, get back, you know.
Yeah.
Do
And
something out of spite.
and that is the fastest way to literally annihilate your company and annihilate your team. Yeah, is to have that going on between the team.
So you're saying at this stage now, you're not even accepting that. Like you're not even trying to save them. You're not wasting any more time. But
Well,
if you did,
No one is in here. No one
He's
is in
vetting
here
them.
that is that way.
Yeah, he's vetting them before they get.
So it doesn't even
on
get
board.
to
It
Oh
doesn't
yeah,
even
our
get to
vet
that
system
point.
is so hard that like we don't have those problems.
no, yeah, just the whole thing.
Someone
with
would just have
interviewing.
to fly off the handle and go rogue, which
Yeah,
has happened. You know, I mean, listen, dude, I always say this, not everybody, people change, right? Look, this thing's exciting. I come to work for you, Javier. This is exciting. I love this new life. Oh my God, this is incredible. And then, 3 years down the road, guy changes back.
Yeah.
He was negative. He had all these issues. You changed his life. 3 years later, he self-sabotaged. I don't know. I had a guy, he worked for me. He started with me in the very beginning. After 4 years, one day he just, and I,
What do you think?
patterns and cycles. Life is patterns and cycles. This guy would pattern and cycle. He would always have to self-sabotage his life after, I don't know, some people don't think they deserve a good life.
Yeah, I was gonna say that they don't
Yeah.
believe they're good enough.
And I know
to-
that sounds
to
kind
be
of
where they are.
weird to believe, but like,
Yeah.
I feel like they feel alive. They feel more alive with pain than they do with happiness.
Yeah.
And so intentionally, they will hurt someone just to draw attention to them and feel pain.
Yeah.
It's like they'll burn their life down,
Just to.
and they don't want to.
Yeah.
It emotionally destroys them, but they just have these patterns, and they just have to
do you think that
bomb
happens?
everything. It's just a sickness some people have. And, honestly, dude, you just got to get close to God, man. When you're close to God, you don't think that way. When you have a relationship, not religion, when you have a relationship with me with Jesus, like I don't think like that. It sounds kind of crazy, but like I go into the gym, I listen to Christian music, I'll listen to Hillsong United. I'll be lifting heavy weights, going psycho. And if you were to come up to me, you're like, dude, what is he listening to?
No, they do have some bangers.
Yeah, but like I'm listening to like Christian music. Like I love it. Like I love it, man. Especially now, like I've really matured. I always say this, if you really want to take your business and your life to the next level, you got to mature. And I think that, 2024 is my year of maturity. Yeah.
How important? Well, you said it's very important. God to you, like when you said, I saw trust God. On
Number
the
one.
values.
One of the values,
Yeah, number
What
one.
does that mean to you?
It means that, well, first of all, I wouldn't be here without God. I shouldn't be here.
Okay.
this shouldn't happen. Okay, like, number one, I should be dead. I should probably be in prison. I probably should not have my wife. I probably shouldn't have my kids. I probably shouldn't have any of these things. I shouldn't have the loyalty of my team. I was not a good person, but because of grace, I've literally been forgiven so many times. And I knew that, like, why I'm here is because I'm made for something. I'm like, we had to go through this stuff to help other people get out of this. I always say, whatever you can overcome, you're immensely qualified to help someone else overcome it. And I've just been through hell. And since I've been through hell, like, I look into people and I'm like, dude, I like know what this guy's going through. Yeah. And I don't want them to go through it. I don't want them to go through what we went through. I don't want them I don't want them to go in these shoes. And so, like, my goal is that, like, I want to do God's work. And also God opens doors humans can't close. I've had a lot of things that I've done before and they didn't work out long term. But this thing that I'm doing now, it's like ministry and it's like on earth. It's, it becomes more clear every day. Sometimes in the beginning, I was like, I just don't want to go back in the car business. That was like 21 years in the car business. And so, like, I thought, like, oh, this is my way out. Like, I don't have to go back in the car business because not that anything's wrong with the car business. I just had a lot of bad leaders. I had a lot of crap. It's just like an ex, right? Like, I just needed to move past it, right? And then I found this, and then I was never on social media, and then I found social media, and then I found, like, all these things, and I feel like God is building these leaders. You know what I've done? I've always taken the calling. When I feel that urge, that Holy Spirit, like do it, do it, do it, do it. Most people are scared. They don't have the courage to become a coward. They won't take that next risk. Like, I'm always like, done, I'm in. Like, write the check, wire the money, let's go. Like, let's do it.
Is that because you think God, that's your purpose? Like, that purpose brought to you by God, or like you?
Yeah, dude. Like, I believe that He's opened a door. Okay. Like, take it, dude. Like, it's a choice. Like, people always say, like, like trust in God, right? Yeah. Yeah, but God has to also trust you. Okay. Right? Like, you have to do this thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about this. Like, you're like, I trust God. And God's like, okay, go help her.
I'm like, nah.
And you're like, well, I don't want to go help her. It's like, okay, well, I can't even trust you, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even trust you. Like, you're saying you trust me, but I can't trust you, man. Go. When I say go, go. There was a guy a year ago. I was upstairs, and we had this training program. It was like 10, 20 grand or something like that to come into the office for 2 days and shadow our company and show you everything that we do. And this guy was up there, and I remember looking at him in the eyes, and he didn't raise his hand to buy it or anything, right? But a lot of other people, we had like 15 envelopes for this package that we were going to do. And everybody took one, and there was like 40 people in the room. 15 of them grabbed them, and this guy didn't grab one, right? And I remember looking at his eyes. Well, then the guy goes back downstairs, right? The event starts going on. He sits down next to his wife, and his chest feels real heavy. And he's like, dude, he told his wife, he's like, I feel like I need to go back up there. Like, I feel like I need to go buy that thing. Okay. She's like, what do you mean? He's like, my chest is really heavy. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't even understand why I would want to need that. But I feel like I need that. Like, I feel like something's telling me to go back up there. Right? Long story short, his wife's like, if that's what you feel, go. Like, go get up there. Like, cause a racket. Tell them to make one more for you. Like, go do it. And anyways, long story short, he came up. Their marriage was struggling. Their life was struggling. Everything was, he didn't need to come and learn some business. Yeah. He needed to change his life. And he came back up there with us. Long story short, got in the package, came to the deal. That guy, 20x his income since last year. His marriage is on fire. He's a better daddy. He's in great shape. He's close to God. Man, I'm just telling you, dude, like, when he felt that thing, like, do this, like, he went. And so I always tell people, like, people are like, oh, that's the God thing. You're trying to sell something. You're an idiot. Listen, when you need to do something and you feel presence over you to go do it, you go do it. Just do it. I mean, I've stood in a line before and somebody's like buying groceries and I'm like 10 people back. And God's like, go pay for their groceries. And I'm telling you, I'm like, I'm not paying for their groceries. Listen, number one, I don't like to be embarrassed. Like, I don't like to be embarrassed. So, like, I don't want to cut the line, and it's really tight to get through there and go up and then say, I'm going to pay. Go pay for their groceries. Okay, here we go. And you walk up, and the people are checking out, and they're like, how much is it? And you're like, I'll buy it. That just embarrasses the hell out of me. I mean, I don't know. Like, I do a lot of crazy stuff, but that one just kind of, like, I don't want to, I feel like I'm, like, showing off, or I feel like I'm, like, I don't know. It just makes me feel weird, right? And the lady's like, no. What do you mean, no? And I'm like, no, I'm buying it. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I don't know. I need to pay for her groceries. Yeah. And the lady's like, he's not paying for my groceries. And I'm like, ma'am, take my card. Can you please just pay for these groceries? And by the way, I got all these people looking at me, right? They're like, okay. And this lady doesn't want me to pay for her groceries. And I understand how she feels. One time I went through a McDonald's drive-thru, and I remember, you know, people like buy people's coffee. Yeah. I pull up to the window, and this lady's like, oh, it's already paid for. Here's your coffee. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, the guy in front of you paid for it. And I'm like, I'll pay for my own coffee. And she's like, you can't.
You already paid.
It's already paid for. I'm like,
I'll pay for the next one.
I'm like, dude. And I remember I was having a bad day too. And it changed my mood. And I was like, all right, buy the person's meal behind me. And it made this like string of generosity start in me. And I went home, I told my wife, I said, this guy paid for my coffee, changed my whole day. I don't know why God told me to go pay for that lady's groceries. Clearly the lady didn't need the money. Because if she was broke, she'd have been like, oh, thank God. I didn't know how I was going to get this. No, dude, she wouldn't let me pay. But maybe she just needed some good. Maybe God's like, dude, she just needs someone to be good to her. Maybe someone was bad to her. Maybe someone, you know, maybe she's not believing in people right now. Maybe there's some people counting on her. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. One of my questions was going to be, what is the strategy that you have to overcome prolonged tough times? So, you know, like, I know that because of your habits and what you do, you usually have great days. There's times in business when you have some difficulty. Usually, what do you feel? Is it God? Is it a combination of habits, culture?
Well, number one, there's always going to be ups and downs, right, in any industry. But the biggest thing that I learned is when there's tough times, especially when they're going with someone else, right? If it was just on me, then that's an opportunity for me to to see if everything that I've practiced, like I really am, right? Like that's a good opportunity. But if it happens with my team or with my wife, dude, I'm telling you, man, I'd kind of pray for suffering, dude. I'm going to tell you why, because that's when I really get close to people. Look, everyone on my team, when we were cashing checks and, you know, clanging and banging and having fun and doing all that stuff and traveling the world, those memories were great. But when we got the closest was whenever we went through something really hard together. And that trust that we could go through something hard and make it through the other side, which most people don't, that was what grew our company. And I'm telling you, in the beginning, there was a whole lot of that. And so that's why my core group of guys in the Elliot group, about 20 or 25 of us, are really, really close, because we have just been through hell and back together, and nobody ever left. Nobody ever parted ways. Everybody always leaned into each other. So if I wanted to get close to you, I could say, well, God, help us make a bunch of money together. Well, that would be exciting. But really, if something bad happened,
that's when you know.
And me and you could suffer through it together, and you saw that I showed up for you in that bad time, then you're like, all right, dude, this is one of the real ones.
So relying on your team.
Yeah, like, dude, anytime that there's bad times or suffering going on, that's where all these core values matter.
I see that family is very, very important to you guys, and there's actually a few married couples
that work here together. They're dangerous.
How do you manage that? Some people will call it work-life balance, but how do you manage to spend time with the family while still producing at the level at the rate that you're producing?
Well, Well, I think there's two things. I think one, you asked like we have like married couples that work here together that both sell, that both like are coaches. Everybody told us in the beginning, don't get close to your people. How many times you heard that? Yeah, like dude, you got to be careful how close you get to your people. You got to be careful, man. You can't get too close to your people. You can't tell your people everything. Be careful what you tell your people. You can't be too transparent with your team. You got to put space between you and your team. You can't lead them if you get too close to them. They won't respect you if you get too close to them. You know what I mean? If you, dude, they.
Yeah.
I'm used to the military, right? So like you could be a sergeant and have a corporal or a lance corporal next to you. You go out, you drink, but when it's time to work, it's work.
Yeah.
And when you're,
if the world could all go to the military, it would be great.
If it was up to me,
But
send everyone to the military.
yes, exactly. No, I was just going to say, but because you're a militant, that makes sense to you. But the world, it doesn't operate that way. Yeah, dude. Most bosses, you know what the first thing they're told? Listen to me. You don't hang out with your employees. No, like that's the deal. Well, yeah. So how do you build a culture? How do you build an environment? How do you teach them how to live life? How do you teach them how to handle, life experiences? I don't want to just be their mentor at work. I want to be their mentor at home also. If I want them to have a great marriage, right? I want them to see how I have my marriage. I want them to see how I operate with my kids. I want them to see that when I come to work, I give 500%. When I go home, I give 500%. I want them to see work-life balance. There's no balance. There's no trophy for balance. It's work-life integration. If you want your wife to support you, she will support you and have your back for everything. But when you go into work, you've got to give 500%. Then when you go home, you have to be present at home.
How do you manage that?
It's simple. Be where your feet are. If you're at work, be at work. When you go home, be at home. And then if there's time when you're at home, when you have to get on like calls and stuff, you have to have a space in the house that's like your designated space. Because, and I'm going to tell you this, it's like when I go out and I run around the whole house, what that means is dad is home, right? Like it's time for the kids to play. They can play with me. But if I'm in the office and I'm working, right? They know that dad's working. That's why I'm in that office, because I got things going on. I'm making calls. So they come in, they respect me in that office. And I know when they come in, they want to play. When I leave that office and I go out, that's playtime. And I don't bring work out there in the rest of the house. See? You got to create a communication that everyone can understand. Because if I take my work to the couch and now my kids and wife sitting there, we're all watching TV, I'm on my phone, dude, my wife's going to be boiling.
I know.
And my kids are going to be like, well, but that's the deal. So guess what? If there is work that needs to be done, say, hey, babe, I'm going to be home at 7. Look, I want to hang out with the kids until about 9, you and the kids till 9. And then when you go to take a shower and stuff like that, I got about an hour and a half of work I need to do. Or when I get home, I need to work for an hour and a half. And then from 8:30 to 10:30, let's just hang out as a family. Is that okay? I just got some things that are important that I need to get done that I'll be in trouble tomorrow if I don't do today. Cool, I understand that. And by the way, your wife, all you're doing is communicating with her, and then she's communicating with the kids, and then your kids are, it's like, dude, like the reason why things don't go smooth is because there's a breach in communication. Military. Anytime there's a break in communication, everybody dies.
Damn, that's true. One of the things that I also really like is not only that you're a family man and you create that culture within the group, but you also found a way to immerse fitness.
Extremely important.
And that's also one of the things that we are trying to develop.
Yep, I see you guys doing it.
So I guess the question was, what is your definition
of fitness?
Well, number one, it's just a lifestyle, right? Like it's not being a bodybuilder. It's not being an athlete. We say we call it like a business athlete, like a corporate athlete, like whatever you want to call it. I want our team to be physically fit because I believe in a little pyramid. It says physical, mental, business. If you're physically fit, your mind will always be mentally right, and then you'll kill it in business. And obviously, like your mind isn't your friend. It's not your buddy. It's not any of our company's friends. When you wake up in the morning, your mind has low self-limiting beliefs. It tries to make you live in the past. It tries to tell you reasons why you can't make it. I wish I could tell you that your mind like loved you to death and it was going to build you up and make you powerful. But dude, your mind sometimes, there's a thing called the amygdala that everybody has in their body. And the amygdala tells you like lies and fake stories about like why you shouldn't do this. Why, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
It's, not to me. I
What?
actually think my mind helps me a lot. We actually had a conversation.
Well,
was it like a
but
year
watch.
ago?
But let's back up. Have you ever been out of shape in your life?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm never out of shape. No.
Okay, but
stopped
see,
working out for a month or
but
so. But yeah.
point proved.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
See? Okay. Have you ever been out of shape?
I guess you're right,
Same
yeah.
thing.
Okay.
Same thing.
Maybe just every now and then you'll stop working out for
Yes.
like
Can I ask you a
weeks or so.
question? On those, I want you to go to those couple weeks.
Oh, I hated my life. I had to come back to work.
See?
Yeah.
See that guy?
You
See,
change your
you
mind
just said,
to
I
the
hate my
gym.
life. And so what that means is your mind, when you're not taking care of yourself, you're not very good to you.
Yeah.
You're not very good to you. And so,
annoying.
yeah, so like I've learned that my team needs to have the highest level of certainty, the highest level of confidence, the highest level of belief. I need them to really know that, man, they have a lot of value. I need them to have that energy. I need them to just be on fire. Just on fire, man, for life. And I can't make them on fire unless they're taking care of themselves and their
You believe in
physiology
yourself.
and their body. Yeah. So I was saying people's minds aren't their friend. And what I meant was people that aren't taking care of themselves, their mind literally turns on them and it will start being very bad to them. So the only way that I've learned to beat it is to make everybody exercise. When people come to work for me, they sign a mental toughness waiver. And it says like, I'm going to push you. Does that make sense? Yeah. And by the way, like,
strong.
so like you guys have an employee package, right?
Yeah.
You know, or 1099 self-contractor package, right? Mine says mental toughness waiver. It's like Andy Elliot is going to push you. And like, you're okay with that. Like you are aware coming on that I'm going to push you. And, you know, and like, if that bothers you, like you don't sign, like you don't come work here.
It's not for you.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't even think about that. How did you know that happened if you don't take care of your body? 'Cause, I mean, you seem you're in pretty good shape, right? So, have you ever been out of shape?
Yes.
You have. Okay.
Yes. We'll put up here on the screen. I'll show you when you're done. But like an old picture of me and then a picture of me when I started getting in shape. My wife walked up to me one day, reached over, grabbed my love handle. And I was in my 30s. And she was like, dude, you're getting so comfortable.
Yeah.
Damn.
And dude, I remember it was like spiders crawling on my back. I just wanted to punch her in the face. I didn't, but I wanted to.
Yeah.
By the way, what really I wanted to do was punch myself in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when I was 26 and she was 24 and she married me, I was jacked. I was ripped. I was in the best shape of my life. And then 3 kids later, you know, working from 7 in the morning to 11 at night, I let myself go. And, you know, and you know, I don't want anybody to ever go through that, but I'm sure 99% of the people who are watching this, like, understand that deal. And honestly, dude, I just drew a hard line in the sand. And I learned that my physical fitness really relayed to, like, how good of a father I was, how great of a husband I was, you know,
It's
how
an
well I
example
did.
for the kids too, right? 'Cause you
Yeah,
can't
but
expect your
every
kid to
area,
be-
area wasn't as good as it could be because of that area. And so I fixed that. And, dude, I was like a new man reborn.
So that's like the primary thing, right? The physical fitness. Are there other things under that
Yes.
contribute, like
Reading.
reading?
Huge. Yes. Listen. So this is, if there was one thing they got second to that from this whole thing, well, third to that, because God's number one, would be the greatest gift you can ever give yourself. The greatest gift. It isn't a Rolex. It isn't some new shoes. It isn't a Ferrari. It's spending time working on yourself. And most people just don't take the time to work on themselves. They'll do it sometimes and they love it. But then they get so busy. They're like, oh, well, I trained for Sunday for an hour and, you know, like maybe next Sunday I'll get together. So every morning I spend 30 minutes working on me. And dude, it is priceless. It is the best thing I've ever done in my life. It's a gift to me. I want to do good. And when I take time just learning, like, dude, I do so good. When I don't learn, honestly, I become a piece of poop.
What habits do you have that maintain you like doing that? So like, do you wake up at a certain time? Do you have like,
Yeah.
okay, from 4 a.m. to 5 a.m. at the days? Or
Yeah. Well, I like to do it in the gym,
Okay.
personally, right? It's either I'm listening to, like we talked about, like some Christian music in the gym. You know, I used to listen to like some crazy music in the gym, but like I kind of was like, my mind is crazy anyways.
What's crazy?
Well, like,
Heavy metal?
yeah, just like hard stuff, like
Yeah,
stuff that would really, you know, get me wanting to punch someone in the face, you know,
Yeah.
thinking about somebody hurt my family or something, you know, like,
Yeah, just get
like-
riled up.
like
Yeah,
just
yeah,
riled
yeah.
up, you know, but I actually quite the opposite. I put on Christian music where people are like, oh, I couldn't lift hard and listen to Christian music. I don't know, I can. Like, I don't understand it, but I can, and I actually really like it.
It's emotion.
You know, yeah,
I
like,
think it's the emotion. Yeah.
yeah,
I pick my songs based on emotion. So like if I feel, hyped up, I might put some rock or something like that. If I feel like I miss my family, like in Venezuela, I put some music, like Venezuelan music. I feed off whatever emotion I'm feeling at that time
yeah.
to work out and use it as fuel for the workout. But
Yeah.
that's just me. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a big one. And then also another one is in the gym, I'll listen to self-development. Like I chew up all kinds of training. Let's say it was a self-development deal with like Tony Robbins. I'm just using an example, right? Well, then I would just play that and listen to it, and I just would just let it feed my brain. Or it could be, David Goggins sometimes, like if I'm like feeling I don't have that edge, but even Goggins, that could be a mindset builder, right? And then sometimes it could be like, Ed Milet, Andy Frisella podcast, or Patrick Bet-David, like I love, there was a great Tony Robbins, Patrick Bet-David podcast just dropped. It's 2 hours long.
I watched it last night.
Man, that was amazing. It's like that stuff from these goats, right? Like number one, it just affirms that like if we're on the right track, what we're doing, how are we thinking? It maybe challenges some things that we're doing. And that's what I mean by the gift of giving. And I have a lot of training programs that I'll buy and I'll just chew them up. You know what I'm saying? It could be a book. David Goggins wrote a book, Never Finished. That was a really good book. I'll listen to 1.5 on Audible and I'll let that thing run. And, just it's awesome.
Do you listen to it multiple times? I noticed that you said to you on the coaching.
You don't
Yeah.
have to read.
You don't have to read multiple books. Just get
Yeah.
one and create in
500
your head.
times.
Yeah, find a good one, man. I honestly have a ton of books at home. I make it through about a quarter of each one of them because I get into them and I chew them up. And unless they really hit me hard, my ADD just kind of takes over me. And I don't know, I'll miss it. So especially the books like Tim Grover's book, Relentless, was a really good book. I love that book.
Tim Grover, the trainer,
yeah.
Michael Jordan's trainer.
Yep, he's a good buddy of mine. Yeah, and but his book Relentless was a game changer for me.
There's also the one that he was. There's Closers.
Winning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Winning was good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean I've read them all.
So good.
But I'll chew up like a half a book or a quarter of a book, and then I'll get off it. But some of them, I have to go back to. And so like Relentless is a yearly book. Like every book, it's like, what did it mean, last year? What does it mean this year? And by the way, the weird thing is that even though that I read it last year, when I read it again this year, it's like I didn't even ever read it. Because I'm at a different level of maturity now. And, maybe last year it was like psycho. And then this year it's like, oh man, like grow up.
Breathe. Yeah.
It's like, oh man, like it's a different message,
It seems like, you obviously have great self-awareness. Is there a way to develop that for people that don't, like, for entrepreneurs, it's very important to have self-awareness because you have to know where you're lacking and where you're good at, right? So is there a way to develop that? How did you
100%. 100%. By the way, self-assessment is what winners do all day long. So you said self-awareness. Self-assessment is what winners do all day long. There's 2 rules to business that I tell everybody. Rule number 1, don't ever let anybody else know your business better than you.
Okay.
Period. Like, it's that simple. Whatever you do, don't let anyone else know it better than you. You spend all the days of your life figuring that out. That's what we do with coaching. I got it dialed to the T. Rule number 2, try to figure out how to kick your own ass every day. If someone was going to come and take you out, I'm going to take out Romero Capital Corp. I'm coming for you, bro. And I'm like, I'm going to open up across the street.
Try.
What would be the cracks in your castle? What is it that you guys aren't the best at right now? Like is it, is it production? Is it follow up? Is it the customer journey once they're on with you? But there's always a hole somewhere, right? And in those holes, that's where someone would come take you out, right? If they figured out your hole, that's where they would come in. They would roll the Trojan horse in on that hole. I mean, it's like the Trojan horse. Yeah. Troy B, they rolled in a trick, and they got him because they accepted the gift. And so I call that like the Trojan horse, right? Like they'll find the crack in your castle and they'll take you out. Everyone has a crack. Everyone. It's impossible not to. And so you got to think, like, if I was to go and compete against myself, turn it around.
Where would I attack myself?
Where would I attack that guy? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, I would do it there. And that thing, go straight to the leadership meeting immediately with the board team and be like, guys, we have to fix this now. If someone was going to come against us and beat us, it would be here. And so, like, that would be the area that we work on. And so anyways, I just think, like, don't ever let anybody else know your business better than you. And then try to figure out how to kick your own ass every day. And that self-assessment, like winners look in the mirror and own their stuff. And then losers, like, always, like, give away the power to change something and make excuses.
I do that with beliefs. I've never done it with the company, but probably should do it.
You've been doing well with what?
Well, with what? But I believe, right? So if I believe whatever, right? I always try to argue the other point to see if what I believe it's actually right or wrong, right? But I've never done it with the company, which is actually a good take on it.
That's a great idea, yeah. Because we only really think about our strengths all the time, kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we know.
Well, and your weakest link is that, dude, I'm telling you, dude, look, what if it was compliance? Right? Like, it's like we're making a lot of money, but then no one thinks about compliance. Yeah. And then next thing you know, like, that's where you get taken out. Listen, businesses are always changing. Business is always changing. Life is always changing. People are always making a mistake at some point. If we quit watching recorded phone calls, right, of your sales team, right, we quit watching the film, how do we know one day if for some reason they get off track and they start making guarantees that, like, aren't FTC compliant or whatever. And next thing you know, one day they come in, you're like, well, we don't do that. And they're like, yeah, dude, we have, like, over the last year you've been doing this. And you're like, dude, like, we started making money. We started growing. In the beginning, we did this. We don't do this no more. Oh, my gosh. It's like all these little things are, like, things that we have to do. So that's why, like, self-assessment is something that high-level entrepreneurs, like, do, like, every day. So self-awareness is, like, key to winners. Winners just, they eat, sleep, and breathe it. You know what I'm saying?
And how do you develop that, or, like, I guess that's my question is, because there's people that think they're good leaders, but they're not. So, like, how do you, or, like, for example, let's say we hire somebody, and I know that they think they're really good, but I know, hey, man, you're lacking here, here, here. How do you, because that's something that has to come from you, right? Like you said, because if not, you're just going to waste time trying to change people. Is that self-awareness also passed on, do you think, through your leadership style?
So number one, step one of being a leader is self-leadership, right? So I tell everybody, like, the way you lead yourself will determine whether anybody else will want to be led by you. Okay. So, like, I look at people and I'm like, hey, how good is your decision-making abilities? Like, how well are you taking care of yourself? How well are you doing everything? So, like, I'm watching people, and then if they're in their life not leading themselves well, like, they're not a leader. Like, that person right there, like, those self-assessment things. I always say this. We always say this, like, in our company. Do we have permission to be direct with you? Right? Like, I always ask everybody, I'm like, hey, can I have permission to be direct with you? Yes? Okay. I'm looking at you right now. I see three things. By the way, look, if I didn't love you, I wouldn't tell you this. Right? Like, I'm going to wear my heart on my sleeve, and I always go by this saying, love, don't lie. The only people that lie to you are people that don't love you. Okay? If you're falling off right now, and I don't say anything, and I let you slide, I don't care about you. I want you to remember what I said. If I see someone doing something that isn't their best self, if I don't tell them, if you had food on your face right now, would you want me to tell you?
Yeah.
But that's kind of embarrassing. Hey, bro, right there. Yeah, you got that thing. It's like, what? Wait, what? It's like, it's kind of embarrassing. But guess what? Only your real friends will do it. Okay? I sit there. There's this, I'm just giving an example. There's this guy, he walks out of this event. He ate breakfast. 3 hours later, remember, breakfast was 3 hours ago. 3 hours later, he comes up and talks to me. Guy's got food on his face.
Just no one told him.
Dude, every person that you have spoke with from breakfast to now isn't your buddy.
Yeah.
Literally.
Like, understand this. Like, if you are lucky enough to have someone that will tell you the truth in life, cling close to them. So in our company, we always tell people, we say, hey, can we have the right to be direct with each other? And love don't lie. And so like basically, if we see that someone isn't holding the standard or holding their potential, we are very direct with them. We call it the cold, hard truth. We always say, do you want to be fed ice cream like a 2, 3, 4, and 5-year-old and be, and like be happy and be, like be treated like a little kid? Yeah. Or do you want the cold, hard truth and be treated like the badass leader you say you are? Right? Like cold, hard truth is the key. So like being direct is like super important. And so I think that it's a part of the culture. It's a part of the code that you have in your office. It's something that you have to ask your team. Say, hey guys, do we want to be like really like direct with each other and always hold each other accountable and grow? Or do we want to walk around on eggshells around each other and be afraid to offend each other? Like everybody needs to decide, what kind of culture do we want? No, we don't want to walk around on eggshells. We want to tell each other the truth. Cool. Well, guess what? If you're looking to get offended, you'll find it. If you're looking to grow, you'll find it. Tony Robbins always said, if you look for green, right? He's like, close your eyes, everybody wake up, look for green. And you see green. And then he's like, okay, now look for red. And all of a sudden you don't see green, you see red everywhere. It's like whatever you're looking for, you'll find.
You even turn colors that are not red into red. Yeah.
Same deal.
Yeah. How do you work on your delivery when you're doing that? That's one of the biggest issues I have, which is actually why he helps me a lot with that. Being from the Marines, I can be very straightforward.
Right.
And like,
but you got to wear your heart right here.
Okay.
This is key, bro. Watch. Your heart has to be right here. Okay? So, number one, I'm going to give you the best advice ever. Anything you say, Javier, would finish it with love.
Okay.
Right? Hey, listen, man. I'm going to tell you this, dude. You can work way harder than you're working now. Okay? And listen, I'm only telling you this because I believe in you and I love you. I've always believed in you. And I've always loved you. I've always seen that next level in you. If I didn't care about you, I wouldn't tell you to work harder. If I didn't think you could work harder, why would I ask someone to bench press 500 pounds? They could only bench press 200. I would only ask someone to bench press 500 if I thought they could bench press 500. Brother, you have so much more in you. Okay? See, and I'm only telling you because I love you, man. See, and now you're taking it as a compliment for me to correct you. Okay? So there's a saying. It says, when you're direct, as long as you finish with, and I'm only telling you this because I love you. And I'm only telling you this because I believe in you. And I'm only telling you this because I know your potential. And I'm only telling you this because I want to see you go to the top. You see what I mean? Yeah. So like that,
which is the truth, right? That's really what I mean. It's just sometimes
yes, but you're not saying it.
Yeah, sometimes I forget that part.
Yeah, listen. And plus, I want to tell you something. If your girlfriend comes up to you and goes, "Hey, pick your clothes up off the floor," like I don't like the way you're telling me.
Yeah.
Okay, but listen, is it the truth though? Do we need to pick your clothes up off the floor?
Yeah.
Yeah, like you missed the hamper by like 1 foot, dude. You just had to open it and throw it in. But she doesn't like that. But if she said, "Hey, babe, would you mind putting your clothes in the hamper?" You're like, "Sure."
Yeah, a bit different.
The delivery is freaking everything, man. The way that people say things is everything. And so many people, wives, husbands, reason why they don't get what they want is because they don't know how to deliver it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So that's basically what he was saying. That like,
yeah. I know your deal, man. That's the military, bro. By the way, I love it, man. And you know what? Alpha leaders, right? Like alpha leaders, like they love that.
Yeah.
They don't want to work for some
he loves it.
coward.
I do, because whenever he tells me like, "Hey, man," he's like, "Dude, you're messing up right here. You did this," and I'm like,
"Well, this morning I was kind of an asshole to you." So like,
to me?
Yeah, because he's wearing that boot, right? We went to work out at 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
He showed up at 5:10.
I showed up at 5:10.
All right, and then he's like, "Well, I have a boot. It slows me down." I'm like, "Do you want me to feel sorry for you? Wake up earlier."
Well, that right there is called brotherly love.
Yeah, that's cool.
It is, right?
Yeah. Hey, do you want me to get you a tampon, buddy? He's like, what do we need?
Exactly.
What do we
pretty
need?
much.
Need some Kleenex? You need to sleep in?
He's like,
you want me to go to the gym and I'll send you a video of me working out so you can feel better?
Pretty much.
Like he can take that.
Yeah.
But that's very rare.
Older
No. See, but that's the reason why he's your number 2.
Exactly. No, I know.
Does that make sense? Yeah. Listen, I'm telling you, I know exactly what you mean, but for the rest of the world.
Exactly.
You can't, in the beginning, you can't talk to them like that. But when you have these standards and these core values, and when you bring people on in your company and you say, hey, do you want me to give you the cold, hard truth, right? Like when you're here, or do you want me to feed you ice cream and make you feel good?
So that's my approach, not the ice cream and feel good.
Yeah, but you need to say that.
No, so basically that's what I do. So he tells me, hey, this.
And then you
And
deliver
then I
it
go, hey,
like that.
guys, basically there's areas of opportunity here.
Yeah.
You
He's
know,
my
like that.
translator.
Yeah, you're the translator for him, which, by the way, is very important to have, and it's part of the art of building.
Team
I
training.
always say the art of building a hero-making machine. You know what I'm saying? Like if you want to build something massive, you got to have a team. You know, an individual can be beat, but a team can't be beat. So you guys, no matter how good you guys are, it doesn't matter. If you can't clone yourself, you're worth nothing. Okay, and so.
That's
Yeah.
a strong, yeah.
Yeah. So the goal is you got to clone. But everything that we went through on this podcast, on this training, on this education video, if anyone could take any of this and just duplicate this into their life, they would be extremely successful. What is something that you guys want to finish out with? If you were to say something to an audience, right? You got your audience, they're here. If you were to give them, something to, you guys started your own business, right? It's scary. You took a lot of risk. You went and worked for him. He said, hey, there's no money guaranteed, right? What's a piece of advice, Javier, to drive it home that you would share with the audience before?
Well, a couple things. One is believe in yourself, right? Because if you don't believe in yourself, why would he believe in me if I didn't believe in myself, right?
Facts.
So that's one. And the other one, which I think it's pretty big, are habits. Make sure you have the right habits to keep you moving forward. When things go wrong, your habits will keep you
They'll carry you
in
through.
line, right?
Yep.
So I think those two things are very important when you're starting a business.
I got a buddy that went through some really hard times, and he said the only thing that helped him through everything was that he continued to stay consistent with his gym and eating clean through those nightmares. And he goes, dude, because of that, his mental mindset stayed straight, and he made it through it. He said, had I broken that, I would have lost.
And it goes both ways. I was telling the guys the other day, because in our business you can make a lot of money, right? So I'm like, okay, so what happens when you're making $30,000-$40,000 a month and you don't have the habits? What are you gonna do? You're gonna go out party. You're gonna go out dating women. You're gonna go out chasing women. You're gonna go out blow it. And what is that gonna do to you as a person, right? Because you could keep having money. There's a lot of people that have a lot of money, but they're lost.
That's
They're
facts.
lost because they don't have, because they have money, that they don't have the habits. They're
Yeah.
lost because they don't have the habits.
Yeah.
So I think it's
Habits are a big foundation to your whole life. Yeah. Daniel, what do you want to finish out with?
I would say the consistency part, it was the stream that broke the rock or something like that. The consistency of the water
Yeah.
is the one that breaks the rocks, not necessarily because of its strength, but because of its consistency. So I would say for me, that's worked for me, just being consistent in working, staying fit. Also, keep learning.
Yeah.
I
Stay obsessed with learning.
always, yeah. I'm always looking to learn, or I'm always asking questions. I feel like the learning never stops.
Yep.
And once you understand that, then the growth is
You're dangerous.
unlimited.
Yeah, guys, we'll finish this out, and I want to say something. I learned this a long time ago. I heard Tony Robbins say, and he was one of the first guys I was started with, so I studied like everything that he had in the beginning. I learned everything. And he said, when people are at the bottom, they want to go to the top, they can be helped as long as they're looking for answers. If they're looking for the answers, they're going to grow. They're going to get out of that spot. He said, when people are at the top and they're killing it and crushing it, they're the 0.0001%. Those people operate from a state of madness, and they will continue to grow as long as they are looking for answers. But the people that are in the middle, that are no longer looking for answers, that are comfortable, can't be helped. And so if you're on this right now and you're looking for answers, how do people find you on Instagram?
They can go to Romero Capital Corp. That's Instagram. YouTube is Romero Capital. And our website's RomeroCapitalCorp.com.
I love it. You guys, do you got your Instagram too, or do you guys use the same one?
We'll use the same one.
Okay, good. You guys go follow them on Instagram right now. Shoot them a DM. Reach out to them. Whatever it is you guys need, we got your back for life. We covered a lot of things today that will totally transform your business, change your life. But make sure that you guys go follow them right now. And anyways, I know you guys drop a lot of mad content, and it's cool. And we're out here in Scottsdale, and we'll change your life forever, man. I appreciate you
Thanks
guys.
for having us.
Daniel, appreciate
Thank
you
you
guys.
for the sweatshirt.
Yeah, you look good, dude.
Yeah.
You look good.
If my girlfriend
Elliot
watches
on me.
this, I love the sweater. This was cool too. It's
Yeah, we're saving it for a
it's not in my brand box.
Yeah,
It's not in
we're
my
saving
brand.
it for a special occasion.
Yeah.
All right, love you guys. See you in the next video.